Hello, welcome to the special podcast because we are going to have a special guest today visiting our campus today at MIMOS Meranti Park. Not other than introduction that we need to be done. Tan Sri Datuk Prof. Dr. Noor Azlan Ghazali, a distinguished economist as well as director of Malaysian Inclusive Development and Advancement Institute, or known as MINDA-UKM. So thank you, Tan Sri, for taking your time visiting MIMOS today. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. Thank you to MIMOS for welcoming us and also having a good discussion with MIMOS teams just now.
Yeah. You have been very much, sentimental to Malaysia, especially in the economics development for the country. So, going back to Minda, what is your planning or your vision to have Minda after you spend a lot of time, supporting government or in the academia as well as government, also working with industry, especially with regard to economic growth?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been quite sometimes in this public policy spheres. I was, seconded twice to NEAC, National Economic Action Council. First was in 2006 to 2009, about 4 years. During COVID, I was again seconded to and also a member of EAC. But in between that, I've been involved a lot with various ministries, higher education, MITI, and domestic affairs, agriculture, and so on. Now, Minda actually was established out of the concern that development is evolving. Development is a complex subject, and it does not. It is not something easily can be executed. Development in any particular sectors of the nation will require various agencies, ministries, not only government but also the private sectors, industries, SMEs, and the larger societies to be involved. And there come the idea that we need a group of think tanks, a group of advocates who aspire together with this, wanting to push the nation forward. But if we look at our name, Minda, not only about development and advancement, but also it has to be inclusive, such that it benefited all layers of the society. So there is a kind of a mission that we are in to get the nation to move forward.
Yeah, I think, but Minda, if you Google and think, it just started in year 2022. But I think based on early discussion with Tan Sri just now, actually your idea of Minda actually way far behind, long time ago that you wish to have Minda. Can you little bit?
I don't know how many people can recall this. When I first seconded to M10 NEAC, that time during Tan Sri Effendi was a minister and Pak was the Prime Minister. I was very involved in the 5-year plan. At that time, is 9th Malaysia Plan, and many other new growth areas, development of corridors, and many other aspects of the development of the countries. But while a group of people in Putrajaya are very much busy thinking about doing it, executing it, but I start to see that there's a vacuum in terms of people who are doing the thinking for it. You can build a highway can promote economy, but the highway can also kill the economy if you don't plan it right. If you look in the case of Malaysia, the Plus Highway, fantastic, but actually the way we design it or the way we build that, we don't really care much about the small cities around it. Most small cities are died just because people pass through and straight away going to the north.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So there are many other aspects of our social development that sometimes we have to have a group of people who think beyond just about building the infrastructure. So initially, actually, some might recall this. Back then, there's a institute called MDI, Malaysian Development Institute. And I was the first director and probably the last director, because I mooted the idea to Tan Sri Effendi then about let's look into Korea. Korea have KDI, Korean Development Institute, that helped the nation to move forward. Then at that point, we created MDI, Malaysian Development Institute, mimicking what Korea has been doing. Only that it does not last long because MDI basically stays inside EPU then, right? So it is no longer there, but the needs for it is still there. So out of the discussion with the leadership of the country then, back in end of 2014, and then there the idea that the nation needs such kind of institute, and that is where MINDA was first announced then by the Deputy Prime Minister then about the establishment of MINDA in UKM. And but yeah, we go through a bit of journey, but I would say that 2022 we were formally established, and now we are very aggressive in terms of going around and mooting the discussion, advocating changes, ideas, and we are involved in various scope of development. So we are not just about, like for example with MIMOS, we are talking about advancing technology and innovation. But we actually have, there are 6 altogether the scope that we are looking into. Yeah. Macroeconomics, talent, labor market, gap, inclusivity, on the environmental and social advancement, and also the most recent that we heard of about the government transformation, specifically public service transformation.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for bringing back the early days of where you mooted the idea of from MDI to become MINDA. All right. I think going back to the current today, we see it's very a lot of uncertainties with regard to the national imperative. We know there is some issue with the tariff, and actually at the end going back to the policy, and you mentioned just now MINDA is a platform to provide a neutral or check and balance. So it's very important that we are looking forward to what been done. Not necessarily what been done is good, but as you said, you mentioned just now, build up a highway for the good reason. But if you look another side of the coin, also it brings means disadvantage, killing cities and so on. So I think that is something that we need to be balanced. I think how do you see that, especially with regard to technology, we, MIMOS and also MINDA can have this platform to discuss, especially from technological space, that basically technology alone cannot help. We need a good policy to drive the technology. How do you see policy and technology can be working together?
Technology probably refers to our so-called brain power. Our strength in terms of being able to advance the technology, very scientific in nature. In many cases, we always look into, like for example, I know the standard measurement that used by the government in terms of how much do we spend on R&D per capita or something like that. We look into pattern. We look into many so-called scientific measures to tell we are advanced. But I doubt that is enough. Even technology actually cross to the culture. Why certain countries are so good at innovation?
Exactly.
Why not, certain countries? I mooted the idea sometime back when I worked with some group from Mexico. I said that there's something like equatonomics.
Okay.
This is interesting. Equatonomics is just about where people, countries that reside in the belt of equator, they don't have that climate change. There's no winter, there's no nothing. Just because of that, it might give you less impetus to push for innovation.
Okay.
Right? You don't need thick jackets. Thick jacket is heavy, but now they design a very thin jacket, but it can prevent you from being cold.
Exactly.
And that's innovation.
Exactly.
So I start to see that even the geographical side of it also matters of innovation. So how about the country that do not have this? But how do we push for innovation?
Is it correct to say that we actually is really hot and wet season?
Yeah.
It's less innovative as compared to those who are not.
There are theses to say this is coming pure from geographical perspective. To say that the further away you are from equator, you have a better chance of becoming more innovative. I mean, it's a good thesis to look at, right? But that does not mean that those in the equator belt cannot do innovation. But we have to look into what are the unique strengths that we have. For example, I remember that I talked to a Brazilian group saying that when I talk about dengue.
Dengue, yeah.
They have dengue.
Exactly.
We have dengue. But we never talk together about solving dengue problem.
Yeah.
Across culture and all the problems of flooding, the problem of environmental problem across the belt is actually there are some commonalities but we need to network the people together, But again, I just want to mention about I mentioned highway. I don't get plus people get confused with the idea. Highway is good, but you need to design it such that the gain is spilling to the rest, right? You can build, you can have technology. Do you know that, for example, like for the last few years, I mean, let's say last year, economy is growing at 5.1%. Fantastic. But I start to see evidence that the growth of the recent years are not creating jobs. Well, people might say that, hey, technological advancement, kalau dulu basically at the paddy field, you need people to work. But now they say there's a drone. So only one person controlling the drone is good enough, right? So we are coming to the era that probably require us to even rethink about what is jobs.
Exactly.
So we need to understand that. That's why the needs for the job, the capabilities, the skills are very different. And I think the reason I'm coming here because I think technology is a very important aspect of a country wanting to move forward. And one is about the know-how, the brain, but the other one is about the policy. That there are policies that might kill technology. There are policies that might be a hindrance to the development of certain sectors and so on. So we must to make sure that the right policies are there to advance our technology side.
Yeah, I think Francis said about the policy. I think very much important. Policy without technology without policy is something that you don't know where it's going to head. Right. So by having policy is good. I think everyone at the public, people know that we are good in coming out with a policy.
Okay.
A lot of fantastic policy and so on. But what happened actually is not follow through. And not being executed well. So I think we, and sometimes we think that's, is policy for 5 years and so on. But over the 5 years, we had never go through and try to refine it further. Either we are heading to the right, destination or not, right goals or not. So how do your comments with regard to policy that's follow through, inclusiveness, that's able to to overcome our national issues and so on?
I think one is about drafting the policies. Probably there's some strength there already. I mean, if we refer to the government, it's in Putrajaya. Even sometimes back, actually, we don't develop strength in crafting policies. That's why our Prime Minister, Yang Muhammad Perdana Menteri, is calling for, let's rely on the local expertise. I mean, not necessarily hiring someone from a very far distance, coming here for 2 weeks and crafting policy for us. We have been here for very long. I mean, we have seen the problems for years. And we know the structure, we know the culture, we know the kind of the system that we are having, So it has to be context specific. For Malaysian policies, I strongly believe come close to must be crafted by Malaysians.
Yeah, I think
that's one.
Yeah, very important. Yeah, please.
I know we are so good at launching. Launching, that is, when it comes to event, we are number one. The launching with all the bam and so on. But the challenge is after the launching. More so if the policies are crossing for many years. Take, for example, the closest to MIMOS probably, NIMP 2030, right? There is 2030 there, meaning that you got another 5 years to go. There are 4 or 5 missions.
Exactly.
Now, I want to talk about the first mission because I'm quite very involved in it. Advancing economic complexity. Now, when we talk about economic complexity, let's talk about first Putrajaya. In the ministries themselves, how many of them really understand what does it mean? Right?
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe not what does it mean. How many of them understand what is the mission? Right? Probably
The
you go
true
and
north,
check.
is it? The true north?
I mean, not just the true north, about what is in the document.
Okay.
My concern is that we come to one track, what we call as, I will say more like a ministerial track. When the document belongs to one ministry, the rest of it, well, a little bit, yeah, we know, but we don't really bother about it, you know. But the fact that to move NIMP 3, you need higher education, you need MOSTI, you need Kementerian Kerja Raya, you need a lot of things to happen in order for NIMP 2030 to move forward. But is that really what's going on? Or is that every ministries are thinking about their documents? Those in agriculture thinking about Dasar Agro Makanan Negara Dan 2.0. You know, those in Kementerian Pendidikan, they are ending their plan Pembangunan Pendidikan Negara 2013 to 2025. You know, I mean, they're ending this year. So this year there should be kind of either a celebrations or a real assessment of what happened for the last 12, 13 years. I mean, more than that. Basically, about 12 years because it was launched in 2013. So to keep the policy document alive, to monitor the execution, to report, and it's okay. Documents can be revised along the way. It's critical. We have so many of them. Rancangan Malaysia 5 tahun, the 5-year plan,
Betul.
the midterm reviews. I mean, I even sometimes put down the 5-year plan. You start to see that it seems like saying the same thing again.
I mean, the same repeating from time to time.
Yeah, it comes in different format and different jargons, depending on the time. For example, now planetary health has to be there in everybody's document. Whole of nation has to be there in everybody's document. But are we doing it? So I hope Minda can play a role. I mean, of course, in a very constructive way, to do a little bit of monitoring, wake up, you know, that, hey, we are saying we want to go here, but we end up going there. We say we want to do this, but we end up doing something contradict to what we are saying. So these are very important. For a country like Malaysia, yes, we know there are also some dimensions of political change and this and that, but national policies, national development policies should not be changed when either the change in Prime Minister or Chief Minister. Plan Pembangunan Pendidikan goes through 6 ministers, you know, but so we should find a way. I mean, that is one of the things that I hope from Minda, we can help the country, we can advocate, we can do wake-up call, but of course we do it constructively.
I think thank you, Tan Sri, for highlighting a lot. I think a lot of things we can discuss with regard to the policy. You mentioned very much things that NIMP, and even we are going to talk on NSS. This is something that MIMOS are looking forward to work with MINDA-UKM under your leadership. And we also wish to bring a lot more stakeholders to our open webinars or even event and so on. As well, we look forward to have like a roundtable close. So we hope all these inputs can able to be shared to the especially to the leaders of the country and as a neutral and also honest opinion. So I think going back to at the end, actually it must be mission oriented or result oriented. So I think this is something that we hope. And before we end, I would like to request what is your wish moving forward that we can work together, especially to drive the national agenda.
I think MIMOS is a well-known institution, well-known brand. I think you're already 40 years, right?
Yes, yeah.
Minda is very new still. So what we hope from this partnership, we actually have Minda as a development institute, MIMOS as a very technological driven institute. I also invite some professors, Dato' Burhan, and a few of the experts in UKM from EMAN, another institute that do more technology work, to come together. So what we look forward is that we want to make sure that dream of the nation can be realized. I think within the context of technology, not just about MIMOS. This is nothing to do with MIMOS,
It's not about
nothing to
MIMOS.
do with Minda, nothing to do with EMAN. It is about the nation.
Exactly.
So our goal is try to bring all the relevant parties together, sit down in a very focused and organized way. We discuss the subject, and we hope that we can churn out some so-called key takeaways. And I really hope that these takeaways can be lifted to our national leaders, to the ministries, agencies, as well as the industry players, so that everybody is on a common page about moving forward. So that's what we hope
Yeah,
from
I
this
think just now we
cooperation.
have also the discussion. I think we are going to commit to have about 4 event together. I think perhaps you give some snippet what the topic to be discussed in this one.
It is just. I shared briefly just now, among others, for example, that our dream to develop strength in semiconductors. We discussed in quite detail just now that it is very important for us to be able to develop our own indigenous capabilities. Yes, we are a nation that are good at hosting FDI.
Yeah.
But I seriously believe we have yet to prove our capabilities in creating our own indigenous capabilities, strengths that are respected by the whole world. So we want to discuss that, how that we can build these indigenous strengths by our own people, Malaysians. We also would like to discuss about transfer of technologies. What are the key features that are needed? Why is that we have been hosting world's FDI, global MNCs in the country, but how much of that technology has spilled to us, right? We also want to discuss coordinations. As I mentioned earlier, it involves various agencies and ministries and players.
Exactly.
What are the roles of each other so that we can assure that vision of ours can be moved forward. So these are among others that we would like to discuss. And hopefully in the roundtables, we can bring the so-called relevant stakeholders. Everybody is open to air their views, but we come to something common that we feel that, okay, these are at least priority 5 that need to be addressed now. And we hope that the whoever the caretaker of that particular subject can respond to that. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Anthony, very much
Thank
for
you.
the snippet of what we're going to have for the coming roundtable and whatever event that we are going to be jointly work together between MIMOS as well as MINDA-UKM. Before we end, thank you very much for your time, Tan Sri, for spend your whole morning in MIMOS.
Half day.
Half a day. A lot of discussion, very much. I think it's already become roundtable just now. So I think to the audience outside there, so look forward that we're going to have very much this prestigious discussion. There'll be 2 forms. One is closed and another one open to the public. Those who open to the public, we invite everyone to come and to join us. And this is also be live in social media. So I hope it's not just talking because at the end of the day, it's not about about MIMOS or what we call it, Minda, but actually it's about the nation. Again, thank you very much, Tan Sri, and look forward to have a future collaboration. And by then, thank you and jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.